Thank you for turning to page 121. Welcome to page 121. Today I'm going to start one of what I hope will be a series of videos based on comic books in D&D. I want to warn right away, people who have not finished watching WandaVision might want to tune out. I'm not going to intentionally give any spoilers, but there will be a few in here. So again, if you haven't finished WandaVision and you're intending to finish it, go ahead and tune out now. For everybody else, today I'm going to feature a bit of the history of the Darkhold in Marvel comic books and my lift of that idea, the Ebontome, in my Greyhawk campaign. So here we go. Just a brief history on Marvel Universe's Darkhold. The book itself was introduced in some of the Werewolf by Night comic books. Unfortunately, I didn't collect that title, so I don't have them. But it wandered through several other books in its time, not the least of which were these two outstanding issues, The Avengers, where Wanda is a prisoner of the Darkhold for a while, and then later taken over by Chthon. Chthon is an ancient god who wrote the Darkhold so that his evil, when he was being banished from Earth, his evil would remain on Earth and could one day open a conduit for him to come back. His power is in the Darkhold and has been used from time to time by various heroes and villains to deal with a magical situation. These issues of the Avengers detail Wanda's involvement with the Darkhold, beginning with her birth on Wundagore Mountain, and the fact that the Darkhold was actually in Wundagore Mountain when she was born. Now, all this information that I have goes up to about the mid-90s, so if that's changed since then in comic books, I don't know it because I really don't read current comics. So this is based on these issues from 1979 and a couple of Doctor Stranges I'll be showing in a minute. Okay. Many things were added to the Darkhold after it was written by Chthon, one of which was the Montesi formula, entered by a medieval monk. It was a formula that could be used to cast a mystic spell to eliminate vampirism in the Marvel Universe. By the early 80s, Marvel had kind of run its course with its various vampire tales. It had canceled Tomb of Dracula. Werewolf by Night was floating around a little bit, but not being featured in anything. So they decided, let's go ahead and just wipe vampires from existence in the Marvel comic universe. These are the issues in which it happens. Doctor Strange, Master of the Mystic Arts, Sorcerer Supreme, at this time casts the Montesi formula over the course of these issues and obliterates all vampires, including Dracula. Dracula was actually gone from Marvel for about 6 or 7 years. Came back in a later issue of Doctor Strange. The importance of these to my Ebontome is that these are the 3 issues that I read that inspired me to directly steal the Darkhold and use the Ebontome in my campaign. What the Ebontome is a book of evil written by a mysterious entity long before civilization was known. In my world, the Ebontome really comes from Gary Gygax's serpent. That's the ancient evil creature that whispers in the ears of Vecna and some others to give magic from other realms into Greyhawk, and then it was compiled by various people over the years and was just a bunch of disparate pages floating around the world of Greyhawk. A mad monk in my campaign gathered all the pages together and bound it, thus creating the Ebontome. The monk himself was not evil, but when he found one of the pages, he went insane and ended up gathering the rest and created a book of tremendous evil. In my world of Greyhawk, the Ebontome is pretty much the most powerful artifact that there is. In my Greyhawk campaign, the mad monk, Perthangus the Cloistered, realized what he had done, so he worked very hard for the rest of his life to split up and destroy the Ebontome. But he realized the pages themselves could not be destroyed. So he caused through various agents that the pages would be separated, never to be bound together in a book. I've used this as a MacGuffin in my campaign since 1985, where a page of the Ebontome might be discovered in a dragon hoard or in a chest in a dungeon, and now the party is stuck. It's kind of like the One Ring. The longer you possess it, the more it will corrupt you. The actual pages are virtually useless to anybody but a very, very high-level mage, since casting anything off of the Ebontome is extremely dangerous. So I have done many campaigns based on the fact that the party found a page of the Ebontome and now had to decide what to do with it. I have had, over the years, various player characters get very high level, one of which is my wife's character, Ophelia, who in my Greyhawk is Queen of Furiandi. She has built a tower and secured it using all kinds of high-level magics and things like that, and she keeps some of the pages of the Ebontome stashed in the tower. So it's become known throughout my Greyhawk campaign that if you stumble across one of these things, the best thing to do is to just get it to Queen Ophelia and Furiandi, and she'll stash it. There is no actual reward for doing that. It's just the right thing to do. I have run a lot of games based on a page of the Ebontome being found by one of the player characters. I've had player characters who were determined that they were going to use the page and gain power. In 2 cases, they turned evil, and eventually those players left my campaign because of life. So I never really followed up with what happens when a character really turns evil from the Ebontome. One of the more interesting things I had was I had a Paladin player character who decided to keep the page of the Ebontome that he had, and he had a special hilt built for his Holy Avenger. And he rolled the tube up and put the page of the Ebontome in the Holy Avenger, and then we had a really fun campaign character where he was constantly battling his evil side as the sword and his devotion tried to keep the page of the book at bay. So the Ebontome continues to exist in my campaign. I really have never given out all the details as to how it was printed. In fact, this is the first time I've ever actually said that it was the serpent. So if any of my players are watching, there you go. My wife's been worried I'd be taking that to my grave. So there you have it. That is the history of the Ebontome, taken directly from Marvel Comics, Darkhold. And as I said, it does feature in some of the later episodes of WandaVision. This, by the way, is a Marvel action figure, and that is the actual Ebontome, or Darkhold, sorry. That is the actual Darkhold in Wanda's hands. My son had this figure, and the Darkhold came from an old Doctor Doom figure. So that's it for another page 121. I will be trying to feature more comic books in D&D in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Well, that closes the book on another episode of page 121. Please leave your comments below, and if you enjoyed what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.